The dictionary definition of creepy: causing an unpleasant feeling of fear or unease. Oh hey look, that's a picture of me. The dictionary definition of scary: frightening, causing fear. Oh, that's also me. These are two words that mean completely different things, and yet I'm the embodiment of both. So many people like to confuse these words, using them interchangeably. Hell, even the dictionary says they're synonyms. Well, screw you, Oxford University. You're wrong. Don't go to college, kids. I just realized how stupid this sounds coming from a guy wearing a Luigi costume on the internet. So I like video games, could you tell? And considering it's spooky season, I thought it'd be appropriate to take a look at a few horror games that illustrate the difference between creepiness and scariness, and hopefully form my own definitions in relation to video games as we go along. Luigi's Mansion, released as a launch title for the GameCube in 2001, the same year that this is the wrong script.
Oh man, okay.
Maybe you've heard of Five Nights at Freddy's. Maybe? Please work with me here.
Huh?
I've talked about this series way too many times on the channel at this point. Twice. I've talked about it twice. I could go for a third round. You know, I actually got a comment on my old FNAF video just a few days ago that I think fits this topic pretty well. So, Mr. Lucas Diaz Jr., I hope you don't take any offense to this. Or do, I don't care. Quote: "It was never scary. It's only scary to people who will jump and scream from anything. It's just ridiculous you all hype a game where you sit and click buttons. That's just sad. Also, why mention his political affiliation? That wasn't even needed."
What are you doing in my house?
Well, you got a few things wrong. First of all, you've fallen right into the trap of confusing scariness and creepiness. Second of all, claiming that FNAF is just for people who jump and get scared at anything directly spits in the face of everything that the first game stands for. Third, yeah, all you do is sit in the office and click buttons, which makes it so much more impressive that the game is so scary when the mechanics are that simple. Why mention his political affiliation? Because it was funny? Five Nights at Freddy's is an incredibly creepy game. Have I met the minimum word count yet? You're dropped into this desolate, cluttered office with barely a shred of context. All you know is that you're the nighttime security guard and you're being paid 120 buckaroos. Yeah, I'll take it. The immediate vibe from the office alone is something bound to catch your interest. The place feels so abandoned. There's cobwebs all over the place and the equipment feels like relics of the past. As you start receiving phone calls from the previous night guard, he throws out some little lore tidbits that keep you engaged, on the edge of your seat.
But then there was the bite of 87.
The bite?
Yeah.
What bite?
You start to learn what these animatronics are capable of, and the peril you find yourself in really begins to sink in. Looking through the cameras really hones in on the creepy atmosphere. The location is so dark and there's static filling your screen, you can just barely make out the surroundings. Seeing a paradise meant for kids in such an unusual way is unnerving. And then you look at the animatronics, designed to fit right into the uncanny valley. You never really get a good look at them for the most part. The camera angles chosen make sure that you can see just enough to keep you on edge and nothing more. Well, until something like this happens. Oh, yep, someone shit my pants. Oh man, and the sound effects. Sound design is just as important as the visuals in a horror game, if not more so sometimes, and I highly recommend Scruffy's video on FNAF if you haven't seen it already. The droning ambient music you hear, it's barely audible, but just loud enough for you to subconsciously perceive it. It's uncomfortable. You can vaguely hear the animatronic's footsteps in the distance, the childlike circus music that periodically plays, and so on. All little ambient touches that go a long way to creep you out. And that's what this is. This is creepy, not scary, and we're getting there, trust me. People tend to look down on jump scares as a method of scaring, but that's because they're so often used incorrectly. Like, just having a random jump scare for the sake of being a scare is cheap. Will it make you jump? Maybe, but it's just lame. Now back to FNAF. Throughout the night, you've witnessed all of those creepy factors I've listed, and then some. The atmosphere is weighing down on you, your heart is pounding, you're stressed out of your mind. No. And that's exactly what should be happening. You're starting to get delirious. You don't know how much more you can take, and oh shit, where'd Bonnie go? No, this can't be happening. At this moment, you know that it's already over. you screwed up. This is the right way to do a jump scare. It's only effective if there's been a buildup of creepiness leading up to this point. So many factors come together to creep you out and put you on edge, and then the jump scare is the icing on the cake, the culmination of the game's creepiness. It allows the jump scare to hit as hard as it does, rather than being a cheap scare tactic. And what I especially love about FNAF is that it's your fault. You know that if you got jump scared, it's a consequence of your own actions, and that's how you really scare someone. This video is sponsored by Fabletop Productions. Fabletop is an up-and-coming tabletop gaming company, and I'm here to promote their very first book, The Dread of Night. This game appealed to me from the get-go because it's set in a dark fantasy world that's inspired by folklore and cryptids, instead of just beating the dead horse that is the typical fantasy stuff you see all the time. There's plenty of lore in this game as well. There's kingdoms with descriptive locales and important political figures. There's a lot to learn about this game. I mean, MatPat can make a video on this. The game features 13 different classes, and I love this because they're all inspired by various dark fantasy monster hunting IPs, like Berserk, Dark Souls, Castlevania, The Witcher, etc. And as someone who's had some difficulty getting into D&D in the past, I love this game because it's a great introductory title to help ease you into games that contain systems like D&D's. And if you want to be a part of the community, then not only do they often show off fans' custom classes and artwork on their website, but there's even a chance that they might be included in future free expansion packs. If the Dread of Night is something that interests you, then you can purchase it either digitally or physically at FabletopProductions.com. Once again, thank you to Fabletop Productions for sponsoring this video. So, if I had to define creepy and scary in relation to video games, I would say that creepiness is built upon atmosphere, vibes, tone. A bunch of little factors come together to make you uneasy, but nothing that outright scares you. Scariness, on the other hand, is more in your face. The gloves are off. You're experiencing something terrifying, whether it be a jump scare or something chasing after you or something horrific that you have no choice but to watch. I was actually talking to my buddy Goast while writing this video, and he brought up a pretty interesting experience he had himself in regards to creepy and scary.
Recently, I played through the original Silent Hill on the PlayStation, and I'm gonna be honest, I was initially a little bit disappointed by how unscary it was. I mean, it was still unnerving, but like I'd heard for years about how the Silent Hill series was the scariest thing ever, so I guess I was just expecting a little bit more. But as I progressed through the game, I started to realize that Silent Hill's scare factor is based on subtlety. It isn't like FNAF, where the fear is mostly from the knowledge that you could get jump scared at any moment, but instead, Silent Hill prefers to be generally eerie with its presentation, and then they dial up that eeriness at a slow pace. So it kind of lures you into a sense of false comfort by getting you used to whatever sights and sounds you're experiencing, no matter how horrifying they may be, and then they tear that comfort away. And it means that they can make even the smallest of things frightening. Like, even though the game contains a handful of jump scares, I think the things that scared me the most were the slight changes in sound. Whenever you enter a new room and there's a new sound in the ambience and you can't tell if it's part of the OST or if it's something alive that wants to kill you, and I thought that was pretty neat, and I think this is a really good approach to horror.
Speaking of Silent Hill, let's talk about PT, a game that doesn't exist. PT took the world by storm when it first launched, and for good reason. It's a damn good game, an incredible teaser for Hideo Kojima's next big thing. Damn it. Let us take the plunge into what may just be peak horror. This is Game Builder Garage. We exit this basement-like area and enter a hallway. Right off the bat, the atmosphere hits. The lighting is ominous, the area feels very claustrophobic. It's not somewhere you'd want to be trapped if something was out to get you. As we walk through the hallway, we hear a radio, detailing how a man had tragically murdered his entire family. We continue moving and open a door at the end of the hallway. It's the same hallway. No, surely this must be a fluke, right? Walking down the corridor once more, we find that the radio isn't playing this time. Everything seems fairly normal, but then you find that something is knocking on the bathroom door from inside. let's just ignore that for now. We reach the door once more, and we're right back where we started. This is incredibly unnerving. The game establishes its main premise right off the bat, and it's terrifying. You're seemingly stuck in an endless loop. You'll never escape, and worse yet, you have no idea what's gonna happen the next time you walk down that hallway. In each loop, something different occurs. The noises from the bathroom are becoming louder, and you hear what sounds like crying from within. The next time, the bathroom door opens as the crying continues before the door slams shut. A mysterious figure stands at the end of the hall, and you have no choice but to proceed forward. When you finally gain entry into the bathroom, you find something incredibly unsettling. What seems to be a fetus crying desperately in the sink. The sound of a window breaking. The hallway mysteriously turning red as blood drips from a refrigerator tied to the ceiling. The hallway starting to loop even more with no end in sight. The fetus starts speaking. There's a plastic bag covered in blood. Things keep happening, your surroundings keep changing over and over, but what does it all mean? You're left in a paranoid frenzy, desperately praying for it all to end. Each new thing you see puts you just a little bit more on edge, until... This is not a cheap jump scare, not in the slightest. Once again, you feel the buildup of tension as you progress through the game. Nothing you experience is downright terrifying, but each individual occurrence is creepy in its own right, and they all add up to form something truly terrifying, and only then can this jump scare truly affect you. This isn't the end of the game, but it's the climax. Once you complete the puzzle and exit the hallway for good, that's that. The game doesn't need to pull one last scare on you. It has sufficiently disturbed you, it's preyed on your paranoia and unsettled you. And sometimes that's the most effective way to terrify you, keeping you waiting with bated breath for something that'll never come. Kojima had previously said that he would love to make a Silent Hill game because he's absolutely terrified of horror himself. PT is the living embodiment of something that could only be created by someone who's scared of their own creation. And
Kojima cooked?
I'm sorry, we were getting overly serious there. I had to lighten the mood. Or we can continue talking about scary fetuses. Welcome to Babysitting Mama. God damn it, why does this keep happening? Resident Evil Village. By and large, it's definitely not a game that most would consider the creepiest or scariest in the series, but there's one portion of the game that is unbelievably terrifying. None other than House Beneviento. For starters, the atmosphere is absolutely dreadful before you even step foot in the house. I mean, you're completely isolated from anything and anyone. All that lies before you is the house, as snow falls all around you, leaving an even colder atmosphere.
And it's a damn nice house too. Like, I'm no bitch, I'll pull up Airbnb right now.
Oh yeah, this resident is getting evil. Guys, come on, come on. Worse yet, once you start making your way through the house, your weapons get taken away from you, leaving you utterly defenseless. We're gonna skim over the next section here, where you have to complete the puzzles with the mannequin dolls. I mean, don't get me wrong, mannequins are freaky, but oh god, here we go. You're climbing out of this well, and the sound of a crying baby. Taking a page out of PT's book, I see. In the next room, the noises seem to disappear, but then we exit into a dark hallway, and it's fucking terrifying. Nothing's even happened yet, but the lighting, the rising droning music, it's creepy as hell. And then... this is absolutely terrifying. It doesn't jump scare you or start chasing you super quickly. No, this thing shows up, crying in agony, slowly making its way toward you. It's horrifically creepy. It's moving so slowly that you're not in any real danger if you play the game correctly, and yet, that makes it so much more horrifying. You get plenty of time to see this thing in full view and take in the wretched creature. And taking into account that the protagonist Ethan's main motivation throughout the game is to recover his baby daughter who's being held captive, God, this is so effective. Resident Evil had never really taken such a psychological approach to its horror before, but I have to say, it really pays off. This all culminates in a final chase sequence where the scariness really kicks in as you rush to the elevator. You press the button and you know that you're safe, you know that you're in a cutscene and it's not gonna get you. And yet as it tries to follow you into the elevator, you're scared shitless. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, full-on scariness can be effective as well if it's used correctly. Take Nemesis from Resident Evil 3 for example. None of his encounters are meant to creep you out. No, he is mercilessly hunting you down, leaving you stressed out beyond belief. And going back to FNAF, take a look at FNAF 4. Nothing in this game really creeps me out per se, but as far as scariness is concerned, this is no doubt the scariest game in the series. I mean, being forced to look out into the void when something could be mere inches away from your face, and you have to make the call to shine the flashlight or not? Terrifying. No, I've used that word like too many times now. I need a synonym. Petrifying. You're on edge the entire time you're playing, and all because of this one gameplay aspect. These two examples show that you can lean fully into the scariness and have it pay off if it's done effectively. If it's done effectively. In the end, I think the most reliable way to craft a perfect horror experience is to get the best of creepiness and scariness in one neat package. And I know I only mentioned like 3 game series here, that's not a whole lot. 1, I gotta get this out by Halloween, there's no time. And 2, I've now educated you about the difference between creepiness and scariness in horror games, so now you can go out there and play any decent horror game and make these observations for yourself. I don't want to hand everything to you on a silver platter. I want you to go out there and apply yourself using what I've taught you here today. Damn, that got really serious. Hey editor, put a little funny in here. Oh no, the baby. Ah! Hey, welcome to the end card. I hope you enjoyed this video. I loved it. I put a lot of time and effort into this one, so I hope that shows. If it wasn't already obvious, this video was originally supposed to be a Halloween special. Clearly, that didn't happen, but it's okay. I think the quality of the cook makes it worth the wait. And then also the big thing is sponsorships. Big thanks to Fabletop Productions once again, but I want to shout out my guy Joe Frederick real quick because he's the co-owner of Fabletop. He's a fellow YouTuber who does videos on Nintendo games and the like, and if it weren't for him, I wouldn't be in the position to even do the sponsorship. So go check out his channel, that'd be really appreciated. I also want to thank my friend Spiffy for literally saving this video because I didn't have enough RAM in my computer to render this video. I've been sitting here trying to render this for like 2 days, and so he just bought me more RAM for my computer, which I greatly appreciate, so big thanks to him. Also, thanks to Luminos for making the thumbnail for this video because my brain was absolute mush after that rendering fiasco, and I could not reasonably make any kind of good looking thumbnail, so thanks to Austin. I love you, man. I think that's all I've got to say, so I'll see you guys next time.